Welcome back to another league reveal, and today we have a relic tier that is probably going to be one of the hardest decisions of the entire league. Banker's Note is making a return alongside Last Recall, but this time around also with a slight buff being changed to Total Recall. Overall, Last Recall does remain quite similar to last league's, but the big change now is you will be able to save memories. And by doing so, your special attack energy, HP, and prayer will be remembered whenever you stored it. So if we play the rest of this clip right here, you recall save right outside of the Zora boat, teleport back, and you completely re-up your stats without even needing to bank between kills. And another massive thing they did confirm, which is a huge buff to Total Recall. Once you save your memory, every time you teleport back, you will continuously just keep going back to the exact same area. Unlike in the past where once you teleported out, your new Last Recall location will be wherever you just teleported from. A pretty nice quality of life change in terms of not accidentally teleporting yourself out of the wrong place, and at times making sure you double check that you were teleporting back to where you wanted to go. But now you also have the insane benefit of it resetting your stats every time you teleport. Two incredibly good relics going head to head in Leagues 5. Still important to mention that the Crystal of Echoes, which is Last Recall, cannot store coordinates whilst inside an instance. And there are still various other locations, some including like quest locations and certain minigames that you can't access either. Now, Banker's Note is, as its name implies, essentially just gives you a bank note that you can use to note any items or unnote any items anywhere around the game. And there are customizations and such that you can customize how many items you note or unnote at any given time. Now, one area where Banker's Note reigns supreme and is outright better than Total Recall comes to skilling. As you can see by the clip, you can do something like just cutting gems while running around and doing questing while only taking up a few inventory slots. And this was another big one, rune crafting, by just constantly unnoting the pure essence and clicking the altar while being a very small distance away from your inventory. Yes, for an example like rune crafting, you can still use Last Recall by making a save directly next to the altar and teleporting out and back in. Also still giving you very good XP, but nothing in comparison to how good this method was for rune crafting. Now if we put them head to head and just go outright comparisons with what each relic actually offers you, both essentially offer infinite supplies. This does look a little differently, I think, in terms of actual kills per hour. Last Recall will take the cake for quite a bit of content. Things like doing God War's dungeon. Yes, you can very easily stay inside bandos for hours on end with a ton of noted prayer potions and Karambwans in your inventory. But with Last Recall, you can teleport in and out constantly, considering that the boss kill counts do save, so you don't have to keep getting kill count every time. And Total Recall would definitely equate to more kills per hour because it can constantly keep resetting your prayer, upping your DPS massively. Now, one of the bigger differences between the two comes with instances. Instances in terms of bosses like God War's Dungeon or Zora aren't necessarily the biggest problem because the boss fights are so short, so you can just constantly keep teleporting back and forth. In comparison to instances like raids, or maybe even now the Echo bosses, depending on how difficult they actually are. When it comes to Total Recall, you get the added benefit of unlimited prayer, supplies, and health, but it comes at the cost of being able to teleport in and out back and forth. With Banker's Note, that teleporting isn't necessary, you just have it banked up in your inventory. Bring the note along with some prayer potions and any kind of noted food or even super restores and brews, and you have full access to unlimited supplies at any given moment regardless of what content you're doing or where you're even at. And then lastly, another big one, when it comes to skilling, both do have their benefits. As we mentioned earlier, things like rune crafting, you can still use either one. But overall, when it comes in terms of skilling utility, Banker's Note 100% takes the cake. Even in areas where you can use both, Banker's Note overall is just always going to be better. Now, if I had to recommend either one, I don't even think I could. I think this is entirely going to be a player-by-player basis on which relic you would prefer. If you are a newer PVMer or trying out some content you don't have a ton of familiarity with, I think Banker's Note is probably going to be the stronger option, especially if you're doing things like Colosseum, any of the 3 raids, because those are pieces of content where you get a ton of benefit out of Banker's Note where Total Recall doesn't really have any effect. Now, depending on your regions and your bosses available, if you're on the better PVM side, Total Recall is probably the better option because it will definitely lead to more kills per hour. I think this time around, the added buffed benefit of Total Recall resetting your stats, but even more importantly, your special attack, takes one of the prior league's strongest relics and makes it even better. In the end, I don't think there's really a wrong choice you can even make in this tier. Both relics are incredibly strong in their own regard. Both have incredible benefits. I did want to mention, because I just saw it come up, picking Asgardian and then also having access to the Dog Sword along with Total Recall would be an absolutely incredible combo to be able to spam that special attack over and over again. But as a final little rundown, when it comes to beginner PVMer versus in-game, I think the worse PVMer you are, Banker's Note is definitely going to be better off for you. Opposed to if you're somebody who wants to get more kills per hour, I think Total Recall is definitely the better relic. Skilling, it's definitely better on the side of Banker's Note. We only mentioned just a couple of the skills they already just put in the video, but there are plenty of others that Banker's Note makes much easier. Personally, as of making the video, I'm honestly kind of 50-50. If Asgardia is one of my regions, having Total Recall with the Dog Sword and being able to do all of that God Wars bossing with it, I know for a fact is going to be incredibly strong, but I also used Banker's Note last league, and just having unlimited supplies in my inventory anytime I wanted, along with all of the skilling utility, was just incredibly useful. As I mentioned earlier, I honestly don't really think there is a wrong choice. Let me know down in the description what your guys' opinions are. What are some pros and cons that I missed in this video? Let me know which relic you were leaning towards right now, or if you're already completely made up your mind. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you in the next one.